Alright, welcome back everyone. So in this one, what I want to do is when you're displaying something like seconds, so the 400-meter run, right now it'll just say like 120 seconds or something like that. I want to be able to convert that automatically into minutes to just have that a little bit easier to read. So, um, the way that we're going to do that, so here's what I'm thinking about is we're going to have another helper method, and um, we'll call this format value because it's not just going to apply to seconds, but we'll have it be able to convert multiple units into like what they should properly be read as, right? So in this one, we'll want to take in the actual value that we have, and we'll define that as a float because we'll take in something like 11.31 or something like that. And then we'll have the actual axis name, and that will be a string variable. So the axis name, that's going to tell us how to format it, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to get, I was going to say an if statement, but we want to get what the actual unit is first, right? So we'll do, we already can access get event info from here, which is kind of nice. And this will be the axis name equals the axis name. And then for the key, we'll just say unit. So that'll get us the actual unit that we want. Oh, this is highlighted in red because we've defined this using a name parameter. So we can't have a positional parameter follow a name parameter. So we'll just take that out for right now. We don't really need that. So we want to say if the unit equals seconds, then what do we want to? We want to extract what the minute is going to be and what the second is going to be. So the way that we'll get the minute is we'll say the minute equals the value, and then so if you do 1 slash here, it's regular division, and in Python that's going to return a float value. So we want to do a double slash, and what that's going to do is that's going to do the operation floor division. So it's going to remove the decimal part for us. So instead of being like 11.31, it'll be 11. So we'll just floor divide that by 60. And then for the actual second, we're going to say the value. Now what we want to do is we want to actually get the decimal part of it. So to do that in Python, we use the modulo operator. So we'll say modulo 60, and what this is going to do is, say we have like 60.37 modulo 60, that's going to give us 0.37 part. And then we'll just return what the, this will be an F string actually, because we'll do, want to return a string of the minute, and then so for the second we're going to use a formatting code. So we're going to do, for that we'll do :0 to D. So what the 0 is going to do is this character is what's called a fill character. So whatever characters are 0 in this integer, in this case, whatever characters are 0 are going to be filled with a 0. So instead of just displaying like 1 minute and then 5 seconds, it'll do like here, it'll be easier if I actually 1.5 for seconds. Like that's not how we normally see it, right? We normally have 0 padding if it's below 10. That's what this fill character is going to do. So it's going to be like 1.05, which is more of what we're used to seeing. And the 2 is the width of what this format is going to be, which makes sense because we're doing modulo 60 in this case, and it's seconds. And the D stands for decimal integers, so it's going to be for decimal values, not to be confused with like having an actual decimal place. So that is what that's going to do. So the other one that we want to do is now we have our seconds taken care of, right? That should give us what we want. We'll check that in a second. For inches, what we want is we want to return another F string, and then we'll say value, and we're going to use another format code here. Let's use .2f, and that's going to make it so that we can have decimal places. And again, this is 2 values big. We don't have any fill characters, so that is exactly how we want that. And then we want to, the unit that we typically want for this thing would be like a double quote, which that's a reserved character in Python, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to escape it by, and this is across the board in most programming languages, is if you use a backslash, that's usually recognized as escaping the next character. So that will allow us to use this double quote here. And then what we're going to do is then just put an else statement for right now and say else return whatever the value is. We'll also format it to .2f to have a floating point in there. And then this will just be whatever the unit is, right? Okay. That should work for that. Now, where do we have to change this? This would be on setting the show statistics, right? So in the interpolation, let's do helpers dot format value, and then the mean will be the value. Actually, let's make that a named. We can remove this formatting for right now, right? Since this is handled. And then the axis name would just equal x-axis. And then we can do pretty much the same down here. We'll want to, let's see, what do we want to copy? Getting confused here. Okay, that should be fine. We'll remove the formatting, and then we just have to specify the axis name again. And then, let's see, did we not close something? Oh. There we go. I got it. It'll just take me a little while. and change this to the y-axis. Okay, so now we have that. Unknown format code, D for object of type float. Oh, okay. So a little print debugging helped me realize this print statement here. And this print this thing here. So if we have something like, if we have the value as like 121.929, etc., then using the modulo, that's going to give us the remainder after dividing by 60. So we can divide by 60 evenly twice in there, and then we get the 1.929 in there, since that's the remainder. And we don't want to actually print that. So what we'll do is we can round this number up, or round whichever way it has to round to, I guess. And also for the minute here, we want to display this as an integer as well. And what I'm thinking is we also need to put in a colon here. Oh, and I just noticed we also need elif here, because it can only be one of these, right? If we have it like this, then it's going to first test if it's a unit, and then it's going to test again and test if it's inches, and it's not going to be, and then it's going to try to format in the else block. So if we have this all in an if elif else statement, then it'll only test it all once. So let's go ahead and save that, and then let's see if we can pull this up again. Alright, there we go. We have 402.259, which, yeah, those times do make sense. 4 minutes for a Fran is a little bit aggressive, but we only work with the data that we're given, right? Alright, so I think that about wraps it up then. So thanks for watching.